Okay, so we're going to call to order a public hearing, and it's for us to listen to the community on the issue of backyard chickens. So the first order of business here is to adopt the agenda. Councillor Blanchette, Councillor Salt, and all in favor? Okay. And what we'll do is we'll move into public comment. Now I'm missing my sheet here on the process.
Oh,
and you know what?
It's not in your drawer? No?
It is not. But I think we can make it through because we've done many of these. So I'll get our staff person, Intern Cam Bell, to sort of line things up. What's going tonight?
Absolutely. As a brief introduction to the bylaw that's been proposed, at the Community Conversations event a year ago, I believe the idea of backyard chickens was first proposed, received some positive public feedback, and over the past year, staff has been developing this bylaw, researching other communities that have similar bylaws, and it was brought to the Advisory Planning Commission about a month ago. It has gone through its first 2 readings in council and is now going to public hearing before we go to 3rd and 4th reading in council if council chooses to adopt the bylaws. So we are here to hear the concerns or supportive comments of residents based on their interest in land within the village of Valemount and what effect backyard chickens could have on those properties.
Just a point of order, I guess what our business here is to do is, this is a public hearing piece. Council will be ruling on this later in the evening based on what we hear at this point, plus the work that's gone into it to date. So it's not a back and forth. We just hope to hear from you. And if you can just, I guess, essentially, I'm shortening the piece because I don't have it here, but just sort of be kind and thoughtful in your approach. Don't intimidate anybody and it'll be great.
Name and address?
So yeah, and if you can begin with your name and stand when you speak, and if you can give your name and address. And yeah, I'd like to hear, are there any public comments?
I have some that were sent to me.
How were they sent?
One was a fax and one is a phone message.
We can't accept those because you don't know who sent them. We also got one letter that was submitted and it was signed anonymous, and we can't use those because we don't know who they came from.
Do you know who submitted those? Or it's also of an anonymous nature?
An anonymous.
Right.
We can't use those.
Can I have somebody from the audience read one if someone would agree, or is that not how it works?
No. Comments have to be submitted in writing with a verifiable signature. A lot of municipalities won't even accept emails.
But what, I'm just confused on why it matters who says, isn't it just the comments themselves are what's important, not who says them?
No.
It's important that we have an understanding of what, like, so it's, part of the thing we do is weigh this on stakeholders. So somebody living in the zone that would be affected by this would weigh differently for council than somebody who's in a zone where it's not possible or would be very far away. So it's just a sort of a measure for us to, you know, make a good decision.
So I can't even say, okay, well, these are my thoughts then, I take responsibility for this fax, or?
So as council, this is not our time to shine, it's the public's.
No, I know, I was just trying to find out how to get these people's comments out.
The appropriate ways to respond to a public hearing or a question like this is to send in a written letter to, is the fax signed?
No.
Okay. Send in a written letter or speak up at the public meeting.
The councillor would be able to bring these comments up in the regular council meeting during the discussion of the chicken bylaw and say, this is what I've heard from local residents as a councillor. It wouldn't go on the record as a comment in the public hearing, but it could still be brought.
But it would be out,
later in the agenda later tonight. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so
I'm just wondering if we've received anything written in the office.
Oh, yeah.
our intern received anything.
As I mentioned, we received one anonymous letter that we cannot include as official public comment.
So,
So, absolutely.
So I guess I'm the only one. Ray Mikalash, 124877. And I just wanted to say that I'm in favor of the bylaw as it's proposed. Simple.
Any further comments? I'm going to ask three, so this will be the second time I'm asking. Any further public comments? Yeah.
Richard Gorico, 1110 Main Street, here in Belmont. I'm in favor of the chicken bylaw. Sorry.
Wow. So just a point of order here for our audience members. Let's follow the be kind rule, if we could. Richard?
Yes, I'm in favor of it, due to the fact of big industry and not knowing where your food comes from today. And all you have to do is take a look into a couple of programs on YouTube called Food Inc. is one of them, and the other one slips my mind at the moment. But it'll give you an idea of the amount of chemicals in the processes. So I personally have been getting sick for over 10 years, courtesy of big industry. So there we go. This is the reason, one of the many reasons why I'm in favor of it. And so, and the big cities in the country are adopting it. So we're in a rural situation, it should be approved.
Thank you. Further comments? Okay. So that's the third and final time. So with that, we will just need a motion to receive the public comments. Councillor Salt, Councillor Blanchette, all in favor of receipt? Great. That ends the public hearing. We'll just have Councillor Salt, could I ask you to adjourn the public hearing? Councillor Salt, Councillor Blanchette, all in favor? Great. Thanks.
Okay, Your Worship, so in between the public hearing.
So everybody, just so you, there's something happening right now that's kind of betwixt the meeting. It's something that we'd like to do publicly, but it's not, doesn't have a place in a formal meeting.
Correct.
It's really belongs to the election officials, really. So I'll step down from the mayor seat and you can.
Our election bylaw requires that the names on the ballots be drawn by lot. They're not in alphabetical order, they're just as they're drawn. So we wanted to do this in a transparent way. This seemed like an appropriate time, and so we're going to put the names, where are the slots? Okay, so what should we do?
I'll read them out as I put them in so that it's clear that every candidate has gotten their name in.
Perfect, and you're separating mayor from councillor?
Sure, we will do that. So we have Jeanette Townsend as a mayoral candidate and Andru McCracken as our second mayoral candidate. I will let our chief election officer randomize the ballots.
That's what we're calling it, hey?
I will pull the name of Jeanette Townsend.
Is first.
Will appear first on the ballot by process of elimination. Andru McCracken will appear second. For our councillor candidates, we have Peter Fox, Peter Reimer, Hollie Blanchette, Sandy Salt, and Owen Torgerson. Once again, randomized.
That's a little too much randomization.
And the order of ballots, or an order of names on the ballot shall be Sandy Salt.
You gonna let me write them?
No, sorry, try not to look. Owen Torgerson. Hollie Blanchette. Peter Fox. And finally, we will have Peter Reimer.
Okay. Thank you, Cam.
So welcome to the regular council meeting of the Village of Valemount for October 14th, 2014. Our vision is striving for a vibrant and balanced community, and it's our mission to serve the community and embrace opportunity. And I think this is how many more council meetings do we
more after
have?
this.
2 more.
One more after this.
We only have one we have October, and then the first one in November.
It's canceled, that's on Remembrance
No,
Day.
the second one in November.
That's,
Second one in November, but that's after election.
Right.
You're right. Actually, you know what, as this council, it is.
2 meetings,
As
okay.
council.
Sorry.
One kind of normal-ish meeting, and then into the new era. Anyway, good.
So we don't have one on the 11th, is that correct? Okay.
Okay, excellent. So I guess the first order of business is to adopt the agenda, and I think that, does this qualify as an amendment, this piece that we've got here?
Yeah, it probably would qualify as an amendment, so. we have
Okay,
2.
I'll move that we add this, or substitute
That's right, it's a substitute.
substitute
Amended
this
bylaw.
for the section when we get to the local service establishment bylaw for the extension of the municipal sewer system. And what is the other, there's another amendment?
We're removing the presentation.
Oh,
or
right,
the
sorry.
delegation.
And we won't be having a delegation. We sort of jumped the gun on that. Next week, next meeting, the last one, there'll be a delegation from the Canadian Rural Revitalization Foundation workshop, something like that. Owen Torgerson's going to be here and he's going to tell us about it. And then we'll know more about it. So I'll move those amendments. And can I get a second? Councillor Salt, all in favor? Great. We have a huge agenda tonight, so we'll see if we can get through it relatively quickly while still keeping people in the know. Any substantive changes to the recording of the minutes of September 9th, 2014?
Acceptance of the minutes is presented.
Councillor Blanchette, all in favor? That's great. Correspondence for action, item 6.1. There is a request from the Valemount and Area Chamber of Commerce to waive the VSS auditorium rental fees. It's for an all candidates forum which will be held on Thursday, October 30th, 2014. Council, what say you?
Is there provision in our community use agreement to allow this? Not really, right?
But it is a free event that is different than others. I don't think they're charging, or if they're charging, not much.
I think we should just waive the fees.
Okay.
I wish I knew what we did last, or, I mean,
We did last time, or I wasn't here.
I mean, this is something that,
it's an election and
yeah, it's
gonna
a
happen.
community-driven.
Okay. It seems like a very divisive issue. Let's hold a vote. I'll move that we waive the fees.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor? Okay, right on. So we're just tearing through this. That's good. Here's another one. There's a request from Wishbone Theatre Productions to waive the auditorium rental fees for their production from October 14th to October 19th. Now, the world is a-changing, and one of the considerations here is that a change, the community use thing that we have, it seems, Councillor Blanchette, are you up on the know about the new fees charged for, it used to be we were charged a 4-hour fee.
Yeah, that's for cleaning, and they've stated here that they are paying the cleaning costs. So, you know, if we waive the fees, because they got a CBT grant to run this program, so.
I think maybe what His Worship is referring to is the School District 57 has increased their janitorial fee. So the length of time that we need to pay a janitor for an after-hours production is considerably longer now. I believe it's 8 hours rather than 4
Oh, really?
When did that come about?
Wow.
this year.
Well, I mean, they're aware that they're gonna have to pay for the
janitorial.
janitorial anyway, so we could give them a break on the fees.
I think maybe what it speaks to, I agree. I think we should maybe take a look with the new fees, come up with a bit of a strategy. I'm not sure what the status of the community use agreement is, but it seems to me if if the school district has done that sort of unilaterally, we need to go and revisit that, because if they just sort of doubled the expense of being in there, it seems kind of like, we do have a deal with them, and we're responsible in part of it. We should probably begin working on that with them, so. Yeah, let's waive the fees, but let's have staff follow up with the school district and the community use group.
Yes, we know that there are some fees it's beyond our control to waive, but I think this is an important project with the youth, that it's been a lengthy project and it's been partially funded by CBT, so I'd definitely love to support waiving the rental fees.
And a lot of these youth are wayward youth. No, never. Whoa. Just keep on moving. Okay, so, motion?
Yeah.
Councillor Blanchette, Councillor Salt, all in favor? Okay, great. So moving through the reading file, lots of really interesting things in there. Anything that anybody wanted to flag in particular?
Yeah, the age-friendly grants.
Wow, right?
Yes, so if the newspapers are here, okay, if they could let everybody know, and I'd just like everybody to know that the cutoff date is soon. It's October 31st. Am I reading that right? Yeah, applications for the 215 grant are due to UBCM by Friday, October 31st, 2014. And this is, government is committing $500,000 for 215, for the year 215 age-friendly community planning and project grants to help local governments establish or continue projects and community planning that supports healthy and active seniors. So if anybody has any ideas, get them in quick. And if you need any additional information, contact me, let me know. hblanchette@valemount.ca.
Great.
And the other one I wanted to bring up, sorry, was the SIMP. Are we going to send somebody to the ceremony invitation, the invitation to the ceremony?
Yeah, let's call out when it is, and we'll just see if we've got any, maybe there might be some people here who want to come down.
I would really like to attend this if we have some room in our travel budget. This was brought to Mayor McCracken, my intention, and CAO Yanciw when we attended the open house there back in spring or fall of 2013, right? Yeah, spring of 2013. And I remember hearing about this, seeing their plans, and was very interested, and really was hoping that we would be invited to attend the actual ceremony. So that's something I feel very strongly I would like to attend that if possible, so.
Okay, and if we are able to do that, I'd like to come with. That'd be fantastic. Yeah, it was very clear to us at that time that the SIMC are really excited about this project. It's been in work for a very long time. This will be a big important one. So if we're able to, we'll all carpool, save expenses, and get down there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's all I had, sorry.
Okay, that's great. Councillor Salt?
I know we don't do declarations, but yet I'm wondering if we could just do something as simple as making awareness to the Foster Family Month. I'm gonna, in my personal capacity of work, I'm gonna post it up at the daycare there. Some of this information, it's a matter of just simply pulling off the website and just putting up a poster just to raise awareness of Family Foster Month, and so.
Okay, and you're doing it right now too, so that's great. Fantastic. If that's it, we've got so much in this agenda.
Make a motion to receive.
Councillor Salt, all in favor? Okay. 8.1 APC membership. I see there's a staff's recommendation. They've got a recommendation in here. Oh no, it's an either or. Basically the APC, a bunch of people were appointed to one-year terms, half of them. And so those terms are expiring. The people there are not anxious to get off the APC, but it is valuable, of course, to keep this open. I just wonder if the timing might be better post-election. I know that there is actually an APC member who's running for council. If he's running for council, his obligation around that might change because we don't want it weighted too heavily to council. So could we figure this out post-election? Would we be able to calendarize this and bring it back? Okay, so I move that. Oh, sorry.
Point of clarification, if anything is referred to the APC before a new commission is established, will we use the existing commission membership?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in between then and now?
So we're essentially extending the terms of those three
term.
members for a couple months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We should give ourselves a little bit of lead time, because the new council always gets slammed with so many
So
things. So
many
can we say
things.
like until January? Remember how busy January was when we
Yeah.
first got here?
Yeah.
February?
Do we know if there's gonna be a lot of things coming down the pike? You know?
Been a lot lately.
That's really up to council if you want to refer things to the APC.
Okay.
Well, let's just say January, and then if it needs to be
To the
changed
end of
or extended
January.
again, then it can be, right?
Okay, great. So staff that keeps the APC in a workable state for you guys, we can continue to use them, and we can deal with this later. It'd be great. And then, of course, I think, just a question back for staff, if an APC member needs to retire, would we have a process at that point? We could do that ad hoc?
Yep, solicit applications from the public again.
Yeah, okay, fantastic.
Or if it were very close to the time where you were reconsidering,
Yeah.
you could run with one member short, right?
You would still have quorum, yep.
Okay, super. What do we do with that? Have we got that on the table? I'll move,
Motion?
what am I moving?
I'll
I'm
make a
moving
motion
delay.
that we extend those members until January 1st,
31st,
31st?
friendly amendment.
Okay.
Yeah, excellent. All in favor? Great. Okay, moving on to development permit 0314-0805 Cranberry Place.
Is that
Councillor
Cranberry
Salt?
Place or Cranberry Lake Road? There's a couple of discrepancies there.
That's
I'm
right.
guessing it's Cranberry Lake Road based on the drawing I'm seeing and the information in the report. But we just need to make sure that the resolution actually says the right location.
Yeah. Okay, so which one is it?
It's on the actual drawing, it's Cranberry Lake Road, and in the application, it's Cranberry Lake Road. 805 Cranberry Lake Road. So we're all very clear on that. And this currently is the property that has Shell on it, right across the road from us. Great, and our job here is to authorize staff, this is something that requires effort and time, but it authorizes staff to go ahead and prepare and issue development permit 0314. Yeah.
I like the new building.
Yeah.
It looks
Are we
good.
getting a subway?
No, they scratched that part out, didn't
I
you see?
know, I saw and I went, oh.
Well, it's delightful to see that building, I often drive by and look at the letters that are missing on the sign. And I'm glad that it's just because he's had something so big in the works. I'm taking that to be it, but it's nice to see BJ reinvesting in Valemount.
He's got, our notes here say, as per the attached drawings, the color scheme proposed for the new service station does not meet the design guidelines for the OCP. But then in the drawings, he's got, I can't read any, he's using the dark gray colors, he's using cedar shingles, he's using stonework, and those are all the things that
And beige.
say that we want.
So maybe that's a,
So
I was kind of confused. I thought, isn't that what we were asking for?
It is, and I think originally it was not, it did not meet, am I correct, Ken? And then he changed the scheme.
I know some changes have been made to the drawings,
So
yes.
I think that's
So now
what
it works
happened.
with what we, okay.
Okay.
it's gonna be a beautiful building.
So that must have done.
For folks that are in the dark here, I want you to know that we have the entire agenda posted online. You can find it from the village website, and it contains that drawing. It's a nice, a very nice looking building. So that's
So I take a
exciting.
motion to authorize staff to prepare and issue the permit.
Perfect. Councillor Salt?
As long as we make sure it's for 805 Cranberry Lake Road.
Absolutely, absolutely. Point noted. All in favor? Great. Okay, moving on to 8.3. We are moving along here quickly. I appreciate that. Development variance 0714 940 Main Street. So this is a development variance permit And there's a bunch of different options here given to us by staff. The first option is to authorize staff to prepare the draft development variance permit, waiving accessory building constraints in section 14.42 of the zoning bylaw, and to notify the public of council's intention to issue the permit. And I mean, the substantive piece here is that 940 Main Street, with the big sign that says the trading post, we'll be allowed to have not one accessory building, but 19. And we see in the drawings that these are storage units.
And they're all in the back.
And they're all in the back.
So, I mean, you know, and it's fenced in, so I
Fenced
mean,
and gated.
that's,
Councillor Salt?
I think it's a great deal.
I'd like to motion that we authorize staff to prepare the draft development variance permit, waiving accessory building constraints in section 14.4.2 of the zoning bylaw, and to notify the public of council's intention to issue the permit.
I second it.
I think we've seen, this individual's been very successful with their previous lot, and I think this is just fabulous to see business growing.
Absolutely, and it's great to be working together, so. All in favor? Done. Great. Item 8.4, C1 zoning religious assembly. This one has had a lot of thought. And I think there's been, a great deal of work done on this. This is excellent. And I really appreciate the recommendations. I really appreciate the report and the approach taken by staff. So the Advisory Planning Commission has favored this solution, and that's that staff proceed with a TUP application process with no fee and draft a zoning bylaw amendment that prohibits religious assembly in C1 zones and creates definitions for places of worship. Yeah, and there is a very well thought out staff report here. If people are interested in why council is saying, moving in a direction that does not allow churches in C1, the thinking is there, and I believe that it's sound. Many communities do this, and it's about taxation and having thriving commercial uses. But also with that, council, the APC did a good job of recognizing the current struggles of Valemount, that we don't have a bustling C1. It's not having a religious assembly on Fifth Avenue is not causing any major problems. And so this is a way of sort of getting them into a comfortable situation. So making allowances, but also looking to the future and saying, do we want 5 churches on Main Street, or do we want commercial property being falling into the under permissive tax exemptions? So, anyways, we don't need to beat it all up here. It's been around for quite a while, but I do like the solution.
I think staff have done a really good job in the report, and the APC, and I thank them because it's been very well thought out, and it's certainly continuing with, I think, direction of previous councils as well, so.
Great. I'll move this. Option 1, a staff proceed to TUP application process with no fee. Draft a zoning bylaw amendment that prohibits religious assembly in C1 zones and creates a definition for places of worship. Councillor Salt, all in favor? Okay.
May I ask a quick question? Since this applicant already has a TUP, does another public hearing need to be conducted to issue a second TUP?
Each TUP stands on its own.
Okay, so there will be another public hearing for this.
Great, thanks. Good clarification. Okay. Moving on to item 9.1, Economic Development Officer Report for September.
No, you skipped 8.5.
Did I?
Yep.
Yes.
Wasn't I just on to 8.5?
No.
Oh, no, I wasn't. Sorry, backing up. Just roll back the tape, Gord. Nice. TUP 0514 for 1445 Fifth Avenue. Staff's recommendation here is, this is a piece of property owned by the village that last year we made minor changes to accommodate snowmobile parking downtown. What's changed is last year there was not much uptake. It was used very few times. However, This year, there are permanent no parking signs on Fifth Avenue, and it will be enforced. There will be a parking crunch for the snowmobiling crowd, and this is a genuine offer. And also, we're going to be working with hoteliers in the area to make sure that staff know that this is an option available to them. It doesn't solve everything in the world, but it's
Just a step forward.
step forward. Yeah, so I guess I'd ask council for,
So, go ahead, sorry.
You go. That council approve initial consideration of TUP 0514 to allow for parking of snowmobile trailers and vehicles on the municipal-owned lot at 1445 Fifth Avenue, and direct staff to schedule a public hearing and notify adjacent landowners of the application.
I'll second it.
okay, you got a comment? No?
No, I was gonna just,
Great, all in favor? Good. Okay, yeah, so now we're on the Economic Development Officer Report for September 2014. This is an interesting one, good reading. We'll just receive it, and hopefully, I understand we'll be receiving a PowerPoint presentation on Economic Development Officer Gislimberti's trip to Klamath Falls, Oregon, where they have put into play direct use in a manner that we can only imagine.
Geothermal power.
Yeah.
so I'll make a motion to receive that.
Okay, Councillor Salt, all in favor? Great. Public Works Report? Yeah,
I'll make a motion to receive.
okay, Councillor Salt, all in favor? Building Inspector Report? Yep, Councillor Salt, Councillor Blanchette, all in favor? It's predictable, okay. We can flag anything if we have any issues. Again, all these are available online, so if you want to see what these folks are up to. Bylaw Officer Report, monthly report for September. Councillor Salt, Councillor Blanchette, all in favor of receipt?
Staff have been busy.
Yes.
Let's just say that.
Yes. 12.2, here is a bylaw contravention report for basically from May 9 until just recently.
This is really good to see.
This was good, yeah.
Yeah.
Really good. I really enjoyed getting this.
So if people aren't sure about how or whether the bylaw officer is making life better for people, I think that you can see here it's having an impact. Unless you're one of the people that got caught, then you'd be like, this is terrible. But if you're one of the people who struggles with, and you've tried to approach your neighbors and nothing seems to be working, then you can see that there's a lot of compliance in the one checkbox. Again, all available online?
I just have one question. Towards the end of the report, there's a lot that are grayed out and don't have an end result. I'm guessing those are still in process, or?
There are some hidden columns, names and addresses and some other comments that are confidential and so the colors do relate. to
Okay,
certain- yeah.
okay, that's great. That's all I wanted to know, but great report. Please relay that to our bylaw officer. This is really great feedback.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to receive.
Councillor Saul, all in favor? Great. Moving into financial reports, we've got accounts payable report for September 2014. Councillor Salt, Councillor Blanchette, all in favor? Okay. So all the money that goes through this office, you can see right there. Follow the money. 13.2, Director of Finance monthly report for September 2014. Councillor Salt, Councillor Blanchette.
She has been busy. Wow.
Yeah.
She has been so busy. No wonder her head's always down when I come in.
Yeah.
So good work to Lori.
Tax sales, dealing with
busy.
everything under the sun. Anyways, yeah, again, available online. Okay, all in favor? Yeah. Do we get a first and second for that?
I did, yep.
Director of Finance, grant writer report. This is a report on the work of our grant writer for receipt. Councillor Blanchette, Councillor Salt, all in favor?
Question.
Yep.
When will we know how many of these were successful? Because it's just saying that she's assisted with to date, but we don't know if they've been successful in getting the funding.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I asked her for some further details on the report, but it was a little bit late.
Yeah, okay.
So,
This strikes me as, is this the first grant writer report?
it's the first one that's come to council.
Okay.
A 3-month report went to the community forest because they are also a partner in this.
Yeah.
But then it was Lori quite late in the production of our agenda recognized that council's also a partner. And so worked to get a report to council, but it's not as complete as the one that went to community forest, so.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, I can see a lot of these have been favorable, but it'd be nice to know them all for sure. Great, okay, so that concludes the financial piece. Now we're moving into section 14, bylaws and policies. And 14.1, this is the permissive tax exemption bylaw number 722, 2014. And we've been dealing this for a long time. I don't think there's any surprises here. Does somebody want to move third reading?
I'll move third reading of permissive tax exemption bylaw number 722, 2014.
I'll second.
Blanchette. All in favor? Great. 14.2, the Village of Valemount zoning bylaw amendment bylaw. Hang on, that's so,
Okay, this is the
okay.
chickens.
Yeah. So this is to relate to chickens. This is chickens.
This is chicken.
This is just
I'm in the
chickens.
wrong one, wait.
This is chicken.
What are we on, 14.2?
14.2.
I think we really laid an egg with this policy.
Do you want me to write that down? Do you want that in the minutes?
I like that in the minutes. Don't count your chickens before they hatch here, guys. Okay, sorry, seriously, we have to deal with this for real. And I know that there's definitely, we had a public hearing, which was comments in favor, but I know there's some concerns, but we've also taken it to the APC and had them do a great job and trying to anticipate and really looking at what other communities have faced, and so it's not uncharted territory. And we're here today with this bylaw. Yeah, and so we're looking for third reading of bylaw number 723, and I'll make that motion.
I thought we were gonna put it on the floor to discuss, and then I would read these.
Okay,
Is that?
so the appropriate time for that is after it has
Oh, okay,
a seconder.
okay.
I'm not seconding it.
You're not seconding it, okay?
Are you seconding it?
What are we doing?
Put it on the table to discuss.
In order to discuss it, it has to have a motor.
It has to be seconded.
And we're just gonna discuss this, but I can't read these comments.
What you can do now is you can say that you've had this kind of feedback from.
If I put it on the table? Okay. All right, so I second it?
Okay.
Okay, so I've had some people talking to me about this. One comment was they were just concerned about predators coming in. Having chickens does attract predators, and their concern is for the children. As we know, we live in a very small town where children do play by themselves on the roads and in the back alleys, and so that is a genuine concern for this person. Okay. The other concerns I have, or that I was privy to, is number one is we live with quite a few barking dogs in the village. 4 chickens per household could become very noisy, so there might be some noise issues. Number 2, I have this all written out if you want it. Are farm animals in a backyard going to draw more unwanted visitors? Coyotes, cougars, bears, mice, and ravens. Point 3, don't think we want any homes on 5th Avenue or Main Street to be able to have them. Won't look very good to visitors. Point 4 was, what will homeowners do with manure and waste? Can't be put in the garbage, but will become pretty smelly if they aren't required to dispose of it, especially in warm weather. Point 5, are the runs to be built with a cover over the top? Chickens can fly well enough to get out over the fence. Number 6 is, if and when, and it will happen to somebody, the chickens get loose, are we going to have chicken poop all over the yards to clean up? On a pro-con scale, the only pro is that maybe, if the chickens feel like it, you might get a fresh egg or 2. On the con side, all of the above comments and maybe a few more that others will think of. Those are the concerns that I've heard.
Wow. So I'm just going to, if it's all right with council, I'll ask staff if they've considered, so some of those ideas have already been addressed in the bylaw very clearly. So no, you cannot have chickens on 5th or Main. It's very clear. You cannot do this in C1. There's lot size restrictions. there's lot size restrictions, and there's many of these things have been taken into account. One I heard that was new to me. I'll just ask about manure and waste. I believe that there's consideration of this in the
Yeah.
bylaw.
I can read you the text if you'd like.
Please.
Any manure or waste products associated with the keeping of chickens must be composted or disposed of to prevent odors and not allowed to accumulate in quantities greater than 0.11 meters cubed, which is 3 cubic feet. Composting is an effective way to deal with animal waste products. It has to be done properly, but so does the keeping of chickens, and so does the keeping of dogs, and so does the keeping of cats. And we hope, and we shall see if the people in Valemount that wish to keep chickens are able to do the research and put the effort in to do it properly. Dealing with manure is one of those aspects of keeping chickens that must be dealt with properly. It is true that we don't want it going into the municipal waste supply. I don't think it's specifically prohibited.
So they can put it in the garbage?
It's not something we want to encourage necessarily.
Well, see, and it doesn't give clear definition of where it will be disposed of. Can it be disposed of at the regional district transfer station? Or are they just gonna go outside of the village boundaries and dump it off into the rural area?
Hopefully they would be able, so another concern that has arisen is slaughtering of chickens, and I think this is a great opportunity to establish relationships with farmers and other rural property owners that already have the capacity to do that kind of thing. Chicken manure is a very valuable product for people that grow food and do other sorts of landscaping. So I think that it's a good opportunity for those other rural landowners and businesses to establish relationships with people in town that do have chickens and need to dispose of their waste.
Okay, thanks, Ken. Intern Bell, we'll say. Great, and so is there any data in terms of how noisy chickens are? I mean, I don't want to dismiss concerns, but noise from chickens is not an issue. Sorry, roosters, yes.
Chickens make a lot of clucking in that too, trust me.
The City of Vancouver had a 65-page staff report when they considered adopting chickens, and after doing noise testing, they discovered that at over 6 feet away, the noise of clucking chickens is less than 60 decibels. It is less than the conversation of your neighbors, so it's not of concern. The bylaw was originally written to allow other forms of poultry, and the APC felt that it wouldn't be appropriate to allow turkeys or guinea fowl or other sorts of poultry that could have more noise than chickens. So we've shrunk it down to chickens and only hens in an effort to keep noise down.
So I just have a question for Councillor Blanchette. As our liaison on the APC, were you able to bring some of these concerns forward in the discussion?
I brought the slaughtering to topic, and these concerns just came tonight.
Okay.
So I haven't had these to the APC.
Okay, there were two other things that we haven't spoken about yet. The concern around predators. What is the research on predators?
There are other rural municipalities that have allowed chickens, such as Terrace and other cities in northern BC. One other concern that Councillor Blanchette raised was having an enclosed run for the chickens, and it does specify that in our bylaw. Coops must be fully enclosed with fencing or other materials to prevent chickens from running at large, which will also hopefully prevent predators from accessing the chickens.
It doesn't prevent them from trying to access the chickens, though.
True.
And I think that's where we're having a bit of the concern. People are worried there's going to be something coming in from the bush, can't get to such and such, kids are out playing, now there's kids between the predator and the bush. I'm just trying to think if that's probably an issue.
And I think that small dogs and small cats also bring the same concern.
I'm pretty amazed at this conversation because we flagged this for a community conversation, which is sort of a place where we air these sort of issues. It's gone to the APC. It's been up for public comment. And what we're getting here is sort of a discussion that hasn't happened in those forums. I'm a little worried that the processes that we've put up into place, should I be doubting the utility of the APC if they're not coming back, if they're totally on the wrong page?
I think we're just getting a mix. Some people want the chickens and some people don't. Some people have concerns this way and that way. I think that,
So I guess one of my concerns here is we've heard from people in the room tonight, people at the community conversation, and our friends at the APC, that this is something that is valued. But we're hearing that it's a concern for other people, but they won't say who they are. That strikes me as slightly undemocratic and a little... Anyways, I guess we need to vote on our consciences and see. But it strikes me that this could be, I guess I'm just looking for direction from council in terms of how do we make sure that we stay connected to the community? Or do we need to take direction from the community on this one? Or maybe these issues, which oddly we haven't been able to address through copious amounts of systematic looking at the problems, these issues are just too big. Should we delay it until we find out more about predators?
I don't really,
I would like to donate more because I do have more questions. I myself have some more questions that I would like to have answered.
Okay.
I believe that the APC has addressed most of the concerns that were brought up tonight. Like I said, the issues of having an enclosed run, noise, and other concerns have been discussed by the APC. They've been thought through, and the APC has put forward conditions and regulations in order to minimize those concerns. I think that for an issue like this, because it is motivated by security, by a concern for food security, it's a matter of mitigating the challenges and risks, and not necessarily a matter of finding reasons that you shouldn't do it because it would be too difficult.
Thanks, Ken. Mr. Bell. That's great. So, council, what's your wish? So I've put the motion on to proceed with this. That has died. Just to sort of a recap. Oh no, we got it on the table. You know what we should do? We should take a vote. And I mean, it sounds like we're not going to pass it here tonight. And I understand if there's further concerns.
so we're only voting to put it to third reading, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and you still have some questions? Okay, so can those questions get answered before our next meeting? And then it would come back and go from there? Would that work?
I would just, if you're hoping for substantive changes, we should not. The fourth reading is really kind of a review and sort of sober second thought. What I would offer is that if there's still work to do on this, we should not read third reading. That would probably be the best way forward.
So it's sitting at second?
Sitting at second, but that's process. If we passed it tonight and weren't happy with it, it would die. And a lot of the work, so that work that's gone into it would certainly fall off the table. So I guess it's council's wish whether we want to sort of respect the work that's gone into it. And if that's the case, probably we should just not give third reading. Or what's
In that case, you would continue with the motion that's on the table and it would be defeated.
Yeah.
Yes, you're correct. If there are any changes that you're looking for, then don't give third reading. If it's simply a matter of having some questions answered, some clarification, but you don't anticipate any changes, then you could proceed to third reading.
I think some of the questions I have would include, and I, don't get me wrong, I totally, absolutely, 100% appreciate all the work that has gone into this. I've been around with this topic since before I was sitting in this council chair, so I know this has been a huge topic in the community. I want to have it resolved just as much as the next person. However, I can see that this group has been doing a lot of flushing out and has cleaned up and caught a few things, but I think there is still a few areas that the wording needs to be fine-tuned to make sure that hopefully every little, but you won't always cover everything, but hopefully more of the gray areas will be covered for people that have concerns.
Okay, so let's...
Okay, so all in favor?
Of defeating the first motion?
Well, I'll just call all in favor. You guys don't do anything, and then I'll say all opposed.
And
Yeah,
That's the correct way of doing things?
you need to defeat the motion that's on the table. Defeat or approve.
Okay.
Yeah. So all opposed? Okay, yeah, that's fine, great. Okay, thanks guys, good discussion, excellent.
May I ask?
So,
when we have the opportunity to discuss those concerns, how staff gets direction for what changes to make.
That's good. What does the follow-up look like?
Right. Can you clarify, like, which questions, what you'd like more?
So I would like to verify, because it says it's expected that backyard poultry-related issues will require some work from the bylaw enforcement officer. Does he have the capacity, and do we have facilities to handle any poultry that get loose that we have to recover like we do with dogs,
Chicken dinner.
right? So, this is just a comment of my own. I just don't believe we really need to have this yet in Valemount. I understand in the large urban centers, but when we have a number of local producers of farm fresh eggs and poultry within the area H of the regional district near Valemount, we should continue to support them, but that's again my own personal say. And then in the actual bylaw itself, like I said, it also talks about veterinary care to keep the birds in good health. Which veterinary are we talking about? Are we talking about Janet, who comes here from Jasper? Or are we talking about Dr. Vogel out by Dunster, right? So we need to kind of, I know veterinary care, but how do we know that's going to be, how do you enforce that? How do you?
We don't. It would be like dogs and cats. We
just hope
exactly.
that they.
We can't.
And I just saying where it's going to be kept clean and tidy and good repair so as to prevent the entrance of rodents, not going to happen. We don't even have chicken facilities in the community already, and there's mice running rampant. Today, there was a mouse across Fifth Ave between CIBC and Underwriters. So we're not going to be able to control that. Just a point. And then I'm just really concerned about the whole idea of slaughter, that hens must be taken out of the village. I understand you saying too, so maybe the wording could be put in there to other local facilities that are set up for that, because I don't want them going outside of the village boundaries and just throwing their slaughter entrails and carcasses off in the pipeline for...
I think we talked though about, did we not talk about contacting Jim Stewart and seeing if he would volunteer to be the one that does it? Yeah. So that it's done by somebody that knows what they're doing and is set up for that. I think we discussed that, didn't we?
Yep, it was discussed.
So like you say, it just, if we can somehow find wording to put into the bylaw so that it's, because the way it's left right now, I would read it and go, oh, well, I can just go outside of the boundaries and I'll go up along the pipeline where I have encountered numerous times walking my dogs, plenty of stuff being disposed of there that attracts predators, that makes my dog sick, and I don't want to see that.
Okay.
So
maybe you can work with Cam and figure out the wording.
So on those points of clarifying veterinary care, local slaughter facilities, disposal of
manure and slaughtering.
Manure and slaughter waste, and I think I heard raised tonight, and maybe it's not a matter of doing more research, but just around the issue with predators. So if I could, friendly amendment, if I could add the piece on predators into that list of concerns that we'll have. Yeah, great. If you're happy with that, let's move that and second. Okay. All in favor? Great. Okay.
For clarification, staff is to do further research and make these amendments or suggestions as opposed to referring it back to the APC?
To work with council.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's just a rewording. I don't think it has to go back to the APC for just some of that, just to, like I said, they've really fleshed it out and I appreciate it. It's been a lot of hard work. And certainly I can see they've tried to catch every essence, but...
It's another pair of eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Moving on to 14.3. This is a companion piece to this, and so I would suggest the same treatment, or we need to can we not consider this?
You cannot consider.
Let's just refrain from considering this, and it'll remain at second reading. It'll be for us to pick up where we left off if that's the direction we decide to go. Moving to 14.4, Village of Valemount Traffic Regulation Bylaw, Amendment Bylaw number 725, 2014, Village of Valemount Snow Removal Policy number 62. I'll just get staff to set this up because this is a...
Can we have it put on the table first to discuss?
Yeah, or you want to put that whole thing, okay. I move that the council repeal the Village of Valemount Snow Removal Policy number 33, approve Village of Valemount Snow Removal Policy number 62, approve first, second, third reading of Traffic Bylaw Amendment Bylaw 725, 2014. Councillor Stoll?
So I would like to see if we can add something to the new snow removal policy, number 62. I would like to see if we could try for a year to have somebody in one of our little machines follow the snow plows and the graders and do one scoop past everybody's driveway and get that windrows out of all of our driveways. It's something that's for all of us. We've got ambulance people, fire, we've got police that sometimes can't get out of their driveway, that can't get into a driveway where they've been called, and this has happened. I know of 2 incidences where it's happened. I know that staff, or that Public Works is busy. I also know they're not quite as busy in the wintertime. And why can't we try this for a year? We have the machinery.
Can I ask, do you mean one of our machines?
There's that little thing that Melanie drove around last year with the little bucket. And I'm not saying to scrape everybody's driveway, just get the windrows out of the driveways. We've got a lot of seniors who can't do it themselves. We have single mothers where the fathers are working away. We've got people that come home from work, and I'm one of them. I come home at 5 o'clock. I can't move that stuff because it's been there all day. So this is something that we could do for ourselves.
Could I put in that? Could we get, try to work up a cost for that in advance of going into it? There's another approach that may work as well, that I've been thinking about. So the windrows of what we're talking about is windrows that are immovable, right? Windrows, so when the temperature conditions are right, this is not all snow removal, but when windrows become really hard and difficult to move without a machine. We know what that is, right? The weather's warm, we've had a huge dump of snow, and the windrows put by clearing the streets, residential streets, create huge problems for people who may not have access to, machine. What I see is staff are out there trying to do everything and clear everything. They have these obligations of doing these priorities. I wonder if those priorities are correct. In the sense, sorry, I kind of riffing here, but if we have 10 centimeters of snow on residential streets, that does not prevent you from going out. If it's wet snow and it's plowed and it makes a windrow, it can prevent you from getting out of your thing. So maybe we're trying to do a little too much too soon, right? Trying to get all the staff's priorities, as we've set out in this bylaw or previous bylaws, is to go and do those right away. After the first priority, I think it's second or third. So the first is like, obviously, I think we're all in agreement, main drags.
There's nothing wrong with the priorities. The priorities are perfect.
Yeah, but what I would say is it's almost less inconvenient if the plowing doesn't take place, right? If the snow is of a quality in residential streets that it's going to create a windrow, but we haven't got the human resources or machine available right there to follow along and take that ice-hardened windrow out of there, then we leave people a little high and dry, right? So I would say is that we prioritize in a different way, is that clearing of residential streets happens when that extra manpower is available to make sure, or we can do it in a way that we can take the time to get people's driveways clear. So I'm trying to address this issue of the windrows that are impassable. just as an example, I know other cities do things differently, but there are some cities, like in Edmonton, where they clear residential streets 3 times.
I know, but we don't have to always be like every other town. This is our town, and we get snow every year, and every year it's an issue, and we have people throwing shovels at the snowplow guy, and we get complaints constantly. Carlina gets inundated with phone calls, so why don't we, before the snow flies, try and fix this problem with a 1-year trial?
Well, would it be fair, I'll let Councillor Salt have a floor.
I have a question, and maybe this is, because I'd like clarification as to what exactly this means, and maybe this is trying to answer what Councillor Blanchette's getting at. In the policy number 62, under service level, like bullet number 2, snow clearing, it says, the first bullet says, snow will be plowed onto boulevards and windrows when necessary. Although Public Works will make an effort to remove windrows from residential driveways, it is not a priority and will be addressed only after priorities 1 to 4 of section 1 have been completed. Then the next bullet says, exceptions to the above statement may occur and will be considered on the case-by-case basis by the Superintendent of Public Works. What does that mean? Does the Superintendent of Public Works say, oh, okay, well, we'll clear your windrows, but we're not gonna clear yours? That's what what does that mean? What does that bullet mean?
We try not to, but we do recognize that we have seniors, and that's what that means. It speaks to seniors, which they have been doing all regularly.
So it could also possibly speak to our first responders' properties then as well.
It could.
But how do we know who is a first responder?
We would just have to have them let us know who, well. We could get that information, we could access.
You know, we have that big grader, we have a blade on it. The blade, as we know, doesn't always go down for whatever reason. There's different kinds of snow and different things that prevent it from going down. So why can't somebody just go along in that little scoop and just go scoop, 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 scoop?
I'd really like to, before we institute a year-long trial, or winter-long trial, I'd really like to get a price on what that is. We should cost that out. I'm not poo-pooing the idea. Maybe it's not that much. But let's at least get some figures on that, because honestly, it could blow the budget. It strikes me as one of those things that it really could.
Snow removal is one of those ones that's so tricky, so
Well,
difficult.
let's find it. I'm not talking about when we get this much snow.
No.
I'm talking about get the snow that breaks your back and makes you groan, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm also, I'm just trying to take into account for the complexity of the job of snow clearing, but sometimes you just get a big, heavy, fluffy dump of snow and you can move it, and people probably have a day to get that out of their driveways before it sets up, and that to me seems reasonable. But when the snow is, like, as it comes off the blade, it's forming an ice thing that only a machine can do, I'm thinking, maybe we shouldn't be plowing residential street. Maybe we shouldn't be plowing people in. We're not really plowing them out. If it's only this much snow, let people slide around for a little bit. It's just priorities, right? Because for those people who don't have impact. But can we take this away? Have you got something useful to do? And just in terms of
Can you price it out for us, please, in your busy schedule? Can you please price it out for us?
that's not
We
what
can do an assessment of what.
I didn't mean to.
And like I said, I don't mean when it's just a little bit. It's, we have to.
Yeah. Okay, well, cheers to that. Let's
Thank you.
try and take that policy to the nth. And so we have here, this is just a policy. Oh, no, it's a bylaw amendment. Can we take this to first and second reading? And then that gives us an opportunity to continue to make changes with the information we get. I'll move first and second,
I'll move first and second.
Okay. Great. It's more complicated than that.
Yeah,
I'll get you to read it out. Because we repeal policy number 33.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me find it. I'm in the wrong place. Okay.
Because we're still okay with,
So, the council repeals Village of Valemount snow removal policy number 33, approves Village of Valemount snow removal policy number 62, and approves first and second And third reading of the traffic
we just want
bylaw, or
to-
what?
Just one, first and second reading.
Just first and second reading of traffic bylaw amendment number 725.
Okay.
Second.
Do
Councillor
we,
Saul?
okay, so we don't have to
Second,
say that we're getting we're having more information come back?
We're still in
Okay.
third reading, we're still,
Well, I'm a little confused. Are you moving the entire thing? And you're
Yeah.
repealing
Should
some
it be in
policy
two separate
33?
sections?
wait a sec, so what we should do is, we should not touch the policy,
Just change the recommendation. Yeah.
okay?
Just to strike the policies. Absolutely. Don't talk about the policies.
We're not talking about the policies at all, right?
Talk about the, yeah.
Because we don't really want to repeal the existing one and put in the new one.
Okay,
until
so
get
what we
this
want to
all
do
done.
is,
Just first and second reading
It's
on
just-
the bylaw then. So,
okay, that council approves first and second reading of the traffic bylaw amendment?
Yes.
Bylaw.
Bylaw number 725.
okay, thank you, everyone. It's a team effort.
So do we have that clear now for everyone? We are
Saul?
only moving
professionals,
first and
you know.
second reading.
All, total snow job. All in favor?
Okay.
Okay. 14.5, Village of Valemount fees and charges amendment bylaw 726. That council approves first and second reading of the Village of Valemount fees and charges bylaw, bylaw 726, 2014 regarding the recommended solid waste collection fee increases. That's my motion. If anybody else wants to get on the floor, we can have a conversation about how we got here.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay. Last year, we implemented from scratch a new bylaw regarding our solid waste collection. And it was a shot in the dark, but it was actually exceedingly accurate in terms of the costs. So staff had done a really good job in terms of anticipating what the costs were going to be for, it's fairly complicated. There's three separate items. One is our purchase of the bins. The other is the pickup, what do you call it? The dumping fees? The dumping?
Tipping fees.
Tipping fees, thank you. And the third being the collection. So basically, there is an increase here across the board of about, it looks to me like 3.5% on all categories. I like how our Director of Finance breaks it down to per pickup. It's 7 cents more per pickup. But of course, we need to look at all the costs and everything that we charge people. But relatively, for putting in such a brand new system or whatever, a very small adjustment, so. Any questions for staff or?
So are these just on the pickup fees, or is this pickup and tipping fees that are being affected by this?
I believe it's only being applied to the pickup fees.
That's where it'll show up.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Okay. I'll recommend that we provide first and second reading.
Good. Okay.
Yep.
I'll second that. I think we already did that, that's all right. All in favor? Okay. Gord's gonna edit that up. It's gonna look fantastic. Good. Okay, moving along. Now we're at 14.6, bylaw notice enforcement and dispute adjudication system amendment bylaw. I noticed one little thing in one of the associated pieces here. If you guys can turn with me to, I don't know what page it's gonna be, but it's the,
I bet you I know.
there's a Schedule A.
Yeah,
So it lists the bylaw, the description of contravention, and the penalty. Sorry, so A5, the penalty?
A5
And the penalty for impeding snow removal operations is set at $150. And the early payment option is $80, and late payment amount is $120. So we're rewarding people for late.
those
Right.
column
There's two
A6
that
and
are reversed.
A7 are the same amounts as the one above, so that's why,
Yeah.
I caught that too. I went,
Yeah, this one should go over there and this one should go over there.
Okay.
Okay, so
the amounts are fine, they're just in
The
the wrong
amounts are
boxes.
fine.
so
That's
the
correct.
penalty in column A5 is actually supposed to be 120?
Yes.
Early payment option 80, late payment amount 150.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so with that,
Amendment?
so we'll just hear that if somebody wants to move that amendment, Councillor Salt,
I'll move it now.
Councillor Blanchette, all in favor? The amendment passes. And then a motion on the main motion, which is to pass the whole thing. All right, we have a motion, but I guess a vote. All in favor of the main motion. I've been reading Robert's Rules of Order again. It makes things very confusing. Okay, so there you go. So moving on to item 14.7. Village of Valemount 5-year financial amendment, 5-year financial plan amendment by law number 728. And I'll just get staff, if you would, to just give the setup for why I'll do this. We're amending the 5-year plan because the village has agreed to complete a sewer extension on Cranberry Lake Road for 2 properties, one owned by Rocky Inn Limited and John Peterson, in the amount of $140,000, and is scheduled to be completed by the end of November. There's some details about that, but anyways, what this is the money from the money to build the sewer line is the responsibility of the property owners. But as municipal governments, we're really good at, people typically don't steal sewer systems, so they're easy to finance. So we're helping one of the owners with a parcel tax. But because this shows on the Village of Valemount's books about roughly half of the amount of the total construction, what we're required to do is amend our 5-year financial plan. So it's kind of, if you would, it's a little bit like an in and out. It's not that we're paying for that, but we are taking charge of making sure that money is lended out. We own the sewer system ultimately in the end, so this is something that we can do. So it's, I think, an example of how staff has been working really, really hard to, people may have noticed a new restaurant on, at the Rocky Inn, and this is part of getting that open. And this is really required, and staff has been incredibly flexible, helping them with their options of whether they needed to do septic, which not a great option, but that was something, and also trying to make this sewer extension happen. So the parties are in agreement, and I've reflected before, as we worked on this file, this is something that initially comes to council in camera, but one of the things I think we can recognize is as we build out our sewer system, we increase the value of the properties. We allow for new buildings and new assessment, and it's kind of, boring old sewer extension stuff, and yet this is the work of the village. And I can't tell you how insanely complicated it is to get it done right and to make sure that it's up to code, that we're not inheriting something that will cost us money as a village, because it becomes ours. So we have to make sure it's done right. And I really want to thank both James Park and John Peterson for being excellent partners with the village. And it took us a while to get here, but we're here. So I will, the other thing is, we're looking at constructing this before winter. So that's why we've got 3 readings here tonight, as much as we can legally do. So I'd like to move first, second, and third reading of the 5-year financial plan amendment bylaw number 728, 2014. I'll look for a seconder. Councillor Salt. Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Okay. 14.8, Village of Valemount Sewer Connection Regulation. Here is 3 readings of the Valemount Sewer Connection Regulation, and if you read the little staff report, it's on a piece that was missed on the updated, or fell out of the updated building bylaw. We need to require backwater valves something most builders, new construction has this, but we need it to be a part of our bylaws. So that's what this is about. I'd like to move first, second, third reading of Valemount Sewer Connection Regulation Amendment Bylaw 729, 2014.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What is, in 7.12, it says authorized person. Who is the authorized person?
That would be the building inspector.
And it's listed in the Schedule A definitions. Councillor Salt?
We just need to make a correction. I'll second this, but with this
Friendly
amendment.
amendment, yeah.
On the actual, so there's the cover page, right?
Yeah.
But on the first page of the actual bylaw itself, Village of Valemount Sewer Connection and Regulation Amendment Bylaw number, it says 7/10/2014. It should
Okay.
be 7/29/2014.
Very good catch, critical.
And that's the same header as well under the Schedule A definitions, needs to be corrected.
Okay, great.
So the building inspector is going to say yes or no if you need a backwater valve, is that correct?
Yeah, so if for example, if the house is built above grade, so it's a slab on grade where it's not in the ground at all, that would be an example where you don't need a backwater.
Okay, but is he gonna come in, is he going to come into somebody's house and say that you have to get it, and then what happens if those people can't afford it?
Well, it's only on this building, or this regulation is only for new construction. So we're just trying to make sure that we don't have issues into the future, but there's no impact on people who already have homes.
Don't see anything where it says on new homes. Am I misreading it?
Well, it's the way that our bylaws work. We can't, but
Because it says, whereas it is deemed necessary to add a missing requirement to section 7, in an open meeting, every building connected to the sewer system shall include within the building or structure or in an approved location outside the building as part of the works, the installation of a standard backwater valve installed or designed. It doesn't say anything about a new.
I think section 7 speaks about new construction.
so this is an amendment on it, it's not the
I
full.
think section 7 is on new construction.
But regardless to say, it's
Well,
not something.
I just don't want somebody to get told that they have to pick, buy this piece of stuff and they
Yeah.
just simply can't afford it. That's,
I mean, that's beyond our jurisdiction to go and, well, except in extreme cases where life or safety or somebody else's safety is at risk, can we go in and go beyond? So anyways, not to poo-poo the concern,
This is just going to third reading?
We
Can we find out if it is just for sure on new construction? I'm a bit confused on how this is gonna work. If somebody has an issue, do they phone our building guy and then he comes in and says, or is he just gonna go to every house, or I don't understand.
So when new buildings are constructed in the Village of Valemount, people are tightly connected to the building inspector. He's required to okay every stage. Now, experienced builders, he may go on site 2 or 3 times, but he is ultimately responsible to make sure that all of our bylaws are adhered to. The only time that process of needing to adhere currently to bylaws is either if there's some sort of fire code regulation, and I'm not sure that that's necessarily us right away, or some sort of impending doom kind of.
No, and I understand if it's a new building, that makes sense,
Yeah.
but I just want to make sure, I just wasn't understanding how this process is going to work. If it's not for just new buildings, are we giving him the
it's
right to
only
just
for new
walk into
buildings.
everybody's house and say, hey, you need to buy this?
can clarify section 7.
Okay.
And make sure that that's clear.
Okay,
The intent was for new construction.
okay.
Okay, so where does that leave our,
Yeah, should we only do first and second reading, just?
You could do that if you wanted. Yep.
okay,
Do you wanna just-
so you've made some, you've offered some amendments. Did we get a vote on those? I'd like to get those correction of the, just the bylaw number 7.
The 710. Yeah.
So I seconded it and made that amendment, so we need to,
Yeah. Can you second that amendment?
Yeah.
Great. All in favor on the amendment?
Yeah.
The main motion? We'll take it, main motion, 2 readings.
2 readings, yeah.
With clarification.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Fantastic. Great. All in favor? Awesome. It's only been an hour and 10 minutes, but it feels like longer.
Staff have been doing a tremendous amount of work and giving them credit for
Super
that, for bringing it,
fast.
but boy, so many bylaws in one agenda.
Yes, it's incredible. And yet sometimes when we want to assist people in the community, like that's what we got to do. Let's move on to the next piece. This is the Village of Valemount business license bylaw number 730, 2014. Again, very thoughtful report. Includes modest increases into business licenses, but with a very, only in cases where it's clearly required.
I'll make a motion to approve first and second reading for the business license bylaw.
Okay, Councillor Salt? Great. Anything before we vote on it? This is a lot coming. No major changes as I see it. It'd be worthwhile for businesses to, we'll probably have some sort of publicity around this before the next round of annual business licenses go out. But yeah, anyways, a thoughtful document and it'll help us do our job better. So thanks to staff and the APC and everybody who worked on that. All in favor? Great. Okay, Village of Valemount zoning bylaw amendment, bylaw number 731. Okay, so here is another piece. This is specifically on home-based business regulations. And kind of the same deal. So lots of work has gone into this. Really appreciate staff's work. I'm going to move that we adopt bylaw number 731, 2014.
Adopted or just do first and
Sorry,
second reading?
First and second reading. That was totally inaccurate. Thank you. I'm going to move that we approve first and second reading of zoning bylaw amendment bylaw number 731, 2014.
Okay, second it.
Okay. All in favor? Great. Thank you, guys. Gosh, it feels late, hey? Okay, well, we did start a little early. Okay, so moving on to 14.11, Village of Valemount Local Areas Services Establishment Bylaw, number 732, 2014. So again, this has to do with the sewer extension on Cranberry Place Road, or the frontage road.
So if this was an amendment, what were the changes?
The cost sharing agreement came back from the lawyer at 4 o'clock this afternoon, so that's what.
Okay,
All right, so let's just take a moment just to go
So
through this.
this cost sharing agreement has been added as Schedule C to the local area service establishment.
One of the interesting pieces I found during this work is, this is not the first time that consideration of the Cranberry extension to the municipal sewer system has been considered. Kind of 5 years, not even more than that. It goes without saying, the sooner you get it done, the less expense it is. It is amazing to see what the difference is in the price to do this from 10 years ago. When it was
Early
first thought of.
2007.
Peanuts. It could have been financed. We wouldn't be in a parcel tax situation. It could have been financed easily by any one of the parties who wanted to do it. Of course, you never do that. I think it's really important. I mean, I like the fact, I think it's not, we should not be ambivalent about this. We want our community served by sewer systems, not septic. And just one interesting thing that happens in this is as we go by properties who have buildings and septic systems, is that they're required to, and often are quite happy to become a part of that service, because having a septic system is not trouble-free or necessarily inexpensive. But this is, yeah. So I'm going to move first, second, and third reading of Village of Valemount Local Area Service Establishment Bylaw number 732, 2014. You got it, Councillor Salt? All in favor? Great. Item 14.12, Village of Valemount Electronic Devices Policy number 61, 2014. I'm just going to look at the report here. Sorry, get to the actual policy. Okay. I'm just going to quickly mention. So there are two copies of. Sorry. Give me a moment to gather my thoughts here.
Nope.
Please.
It looks like the policy was voted up twice, right?
Do you want me to read it out?
There were some amendments made.
Yeah, and I'm looking to see, yeah, and I'm trying to see, because I don't see the amendments in the first one, but it looks like, yeah. So I prefer the second one. The only problem is, I know when we make policy as a village, the first one identifies who on staff gets what. And I just think that's a little bit short-sighted. I'll give you an example.
These are two different policies. One is number 61 and one is 63. One is about
one is the older one?
devices, and then the second one is disposing of them.
Yeah, but no, on 14.12, there's two of policy number 61 loaded.
Yeah, so there's one, and the one further down is an updated one.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say that I prefer to go with this one. Because this policy will stand, I'll tell you what the difference is between the two policies. The first one just said that Public Works has for example, Public Works Superintendent gets a cell phone. Somebody else gets a CAO gets a cell phone, corporate officer has a tablet. I mean, that's how it's working right now in the devices we're using. But just for an example, our entire sewer system, all the lift stations are linked in wirelessly to a central system. And it won't be long before the Public Works Superintendent, as far as I'm concerned, needs to be able to access that on the fly remotely from a tablet. You know what I'm saying? It's just, if we lock this down, this is a policy for kind of like all time until it gets amended. It just seems like unnecessarily specific. So I think council staff has good policy about keeping costs down and making sure people don't have these devices if they don't need them. It's not like we're giving cell phones to the front staff or anything like that. It's just people who have responsibilities that require it. And that's, yeah, it's done here quite nicely under user responsibilities. So, it's good. And just for people, other concerns around the electronic devices are reasonable personal use, protection of our information as a village, disposal of these electronic devices, just a number of things that municipalities can get into trouble for, which is why we like to have this. So, if we've got it on the table, yeah, will you second? Yeah. Any further discussion? All in favor? Village of Valemount Asset Disposal Policy number 63. This is, we are required to have a disposal policy for village assets to make sure there's a fair process when disposing of village assets. We can't make up whatever we want to. They've got to be gotten rid of in a clear way. There is one provision though for if there's an exclusion. And I just want to, if the press gets a hold of this, will tear us a new one, so I just want to make sure that they understand it. So there's this whole policy and procedure. There's one exclusion about how assets are disposed, and that's personal electronic devices for council, or council and staff if they leave the organization, but they're allowed to take their phones or whatever with them, pay for them. They can buy them from it's just a privacy concern is the piece. Yeah, but anyways, if you read it, it's actually clearly there in the document.
It isn't necessarily your worship. It doesn't specifically say that the person that electronic device has been assigned to will have first choice to purchase it prior to it being offered. Most village assets will be offered for sale.
Right.
In an open and fair manner. But the only exclusion will be personal electronic devices. For example, the tablets councillors have been using for 3 years. If they wish to purchase them when they leave the organization, they would have the first right to purchase them before it went on the open market. And it doesn't sound, it isn't quite clear in the exclusion here.
Okay, do we want to make that more clear, or are we happy with how it's written? Council?
It's quite clear.
Clear to me.
Oh, okay. I thought it was clear.
Mayor, council, and staff will be provided the opportunity to purchase electronic devices as outlined in policy number 61, electronic devices policy, before being offered for sale by way of public notification to the public and employees.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it's good, clear, then that's great.
I understand it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we do something.
Approved Village of Valemount Asset Disposal Policy number
Thank you,
63,
yeah.
2014.
I'll take that as a second. All in favor?
Sorry.
We're out of practice today. We've only been at this for an hour and 20 minutes, well, 2 hours actually. And look at us, we're falling apart. Okay, that brings us to council reports, the fun part of the evening. And I understand that Councillor Blanchette has a 38-page report, so.
No. So, what did I do? September 16th, I had an over-the-phone interview with Joanna Peterson. She's the research associate with the Rural and Northern Practice Research Program with UNBC. It's a 5-year program that we go through and we discuss changes in our healthcare, different things, partnerships that we've had with Northern Health. We do this every year. We're one of the, I'm sorry, my brain is shutting off today. Valemount is one of the case studies. There's 11 of us. So this is the second year that we've been doing this. So I had that. On September 17th, we did the DCO interviews. And we've hired one who starts, when does he start?
November 12th.
November 12th. Then, of course, the 19th and 20th was the Chamber of Commerce Trade Show, which was really fantastic. 22nd to 26th, of course, we went to BCM in Whistler, which I wish I could have seen Whistler, but the inside of the conference rooms was lovely. I went to a ton of workshops and panels that were absolutely fantastic. And one of them gave me a really good inspiration that I brought to council for next agenda. Will be on there. A program that I want to get initiated, hopefully. Just some really good medical trust issues came up, and we're reviewing what the program is and what it's doing for all of the kids that are working in the north, studying in the north, trying to keep them in the north. What else did we do? We met with tons of ministers. We met with investors, of course, for VGD. It was a whirlwind like it always is, but it was a good week. I know that you had to come back for some unpleasant stuff that we have fixed. October 7th, I went to the tourism industry celebration, which was fantastic. October 6th, the CBT Developing and Funding Your Community Project Seminar given by Linda LaFleur, who's our community liaison, gave an excellent workshop. I had a meeting with her the day after that and talked to her about 3 potential projects, which she was quite thrilled about, which will come up at a later date. And I think that's enough of my babbling. Just my brain is going.
My turn. September 10th, I had a community forest meeting, and those minutes were included in this agenda for anyone that wants to read those. Goodness, work. Chamber Trade Show. UBCM, like Councillor Blanchette said, it was a whirlwind, but I think we had some very productive meetings with ministers, and I think we're going to see some positive results come of those. And I'm not going to babble on, and you'll just see a nicely detailed written report on the next agenda.
Very good.
And then I also had work some more. And another community forest board meeting on October 6th. So those minutes will be coming up after we adopt them at our next meeting. And that's been it, I think, for me with council stuff. I probably forgot something, but I think I had a chamber meeting in there somewhere. But anyway, that's it.
Good show. Our last meeting was September 9th, is that right? It's a long time ago.
That's why your agenda is full of so many files.
It's amazing, yeah. It's not a race to sort of push all this stuff through. It's just our normal business coming together. I want to very briefly go over some of the meetings that I went to, but are important. I managed to attend the Columbia Basin Regional Advisory Committee in Nelson, British Columbia. The Columbia Basin Regional Advisory Committee is sort of fish and fowl. It's made up of BC Hydro, as well as provincial government employees from the Ministry of Energy and Mines, and many advisory board members, of which I am one. The other in Valemount is Jeanette Townsend, also sits on that board. It is about a number of things. I think everybody thinks it's its own thing. One thing is it's about operations. For people in Arrow Lakes, that matters because Arrow Lakes level goes up very little and goes up and down very small amount compared to us. But I perceive of this committee more as an opportunity to come to terms with the province of BC Hydro for the impacts that we face as a community because of the Kinbasket Reservoir. That's because in our future, they aren't going to be changing the level of the reservoir. And the other aspect of this group is having a group of citizens who are in the know and ready to negotiate should either side of this international treaty, the Columbia River Treaty, drop the glove and say, we want to renegotiate. And in 10 years, they would give the notice and we would have 10 years to prepare to get ready to go into negotiations with the US. So us being up at the top end of Kinbasket, it's important that we're a party to that. Anyways, it's a really good organization. It's kind of, when they first put the reservoirs in, the dams in, nobody was consulted. This is, in many ways, one of the cleanest responses to that. The next week I went to Prince George for the regional district, and the next day I was expected to be at a CBT meeting in Golden, and so I flew from Prince George to Golden, and then I was required to be in Whistler on Monday, so I flew from Calgary to Vancouver and then took the bus up to UBCM. The bus? And UBCM was really awesome. We had really productive meetings with Councillor Blanchette was supposed to give me a ride, but she went the other way. Hey, I was counting on you. At any rate, we had meetings with the Ministry of Forest, which were really good, and I hope that the Community Forest is going to make huge announcements about that soon, about that meeting. We had a great meeting with investors from VGD with our MLA present, who is gangbusters for us. We had a meeting with the Ministry of the Environment and told her in no uncertain terms exactly how screwed up their recycle program was. Anyways, it was like she heard it for the first time. Anyways, that's okay. We had our MLA there, so we had firepower. And we had probably some other meetings that I'm forgetting.
For the geothermal.
We had a meeting with the Ministry of Energy and Mines personnel. And it was really great to... it used to be that the Ministry of Energy Mines would just say that we don't want to talk about geothermal. That's a nice idea, but not for us. And now they're looking at how we can take the next steps. It's very, very good. We're in a very special place. And that is both at that, I can feel that at that level, they tell us, and our MLA make sure that it happens, but also within staff of BC Hydro, there's a great deal of interest in geothermal power. So things are moving along. And then, so UBCM, and then there've been a number of other meetings, Columbia River Treaty meetings, and I'd just like to say we're in election time now, and I really hope, as current sitting mayor, I really hope that we can have a tremendously respectful election campaign, and we can really talk about ideas. Certainly, Valemount has its share of challenges, so if we focus our energy and we're all talking about those during this campaign, I think Valemount will be so much the further ahead, and I look forward to a great and vigorous campaign. And that concludes my report.
I'll move that we accept those, and my apologies for my blubbering about my stuff. I don't know where my brain is.
Okay, second. All in favor? Great. There's no new business on the table tonight. We have a list of outstanding previous council resolutions, just for information. There's a calendar of events for November 2014, and that brings us to the public comment period. So the public comment period is just an opportunity for members of the public to speak to issues that have come up in council. We give you 2 minutes, and if you can just rise, state your name and address, and we hope that you're choosing to speak to issues that were on the agenda.
I'm Christine Torgerson at 2855 Birch Road up in Cedarside, but I'm here to represent Mr. Philip Lee of Rocky RV. I heard you say that there was only 2 people involved in the sewer extension. What happened to the 3rd, Rocky RV?
So,
Mr. Lee has been involved since March.
could I just clarify, are you here as legal counsel for Mr. Lee?
I'm not legal counsel, but I have a letter here for Mr. Lee. He is unable to be here this evening to address it.
Mr. Lee is more than welcome to come and have a conversation.
Mr. Lee has just finished having cataract surgery and cannot drive to get here. He's in Vancouver. He's asked me to stand in for him to council.
Okay.
So I'm asking, what happened to the 3rd party involved in the sewer extension?
So just for your information, our public comment session is a chance where we listen. So I know you're looking for a response, and I'll just allow you to state that question, and then at the appropriate time, we will respond to that. So in that, you're free to carry on.
The other thing I heard was that there was tax exemptions or tax considerations made to do with the sewer extensions. I didn't quite understand what was all said about that. That one of the parties was getting some tax exemptions for it, to help pay for it.
We have a whole village office here that's open 5 days a week. This week 4.
This was my first understanding of
Okay.
that.
So you've got some concerns there? Great.
Definitely have some concerns.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay, any further comments from the public? Third time, comments from the public? Okay. And with that, what do? We receive them.
You receive them?
Councillor Blanchette, Councillor Salt, all in favor of receipt? Okay. And moving on the agenda. The next piece is notice to proceed in camera. We are going to proceed in camera for the consideration of 3 items as per section 90K of the community charter. So that concludes the public portion of the meeting. Thanks.